Hello and welcome. As today's date comes in that of Thursday, 20th day of June 2019. My name is Derek. Welcome to the Money Charts channel where all bets and trades are always within each's own risk and their own reward. For myself, risk reward management is always job number one. And when I look at my playlist sorted by percentage move, started with the losers on top. DGB down 8.19%, which had a huge gain yesterday against Bitcoin, giving it back, or a good portion, or some of its portion anyway. But we got all these altcoins against Bitcoin, meaning altcoins are going down against BTC for the most part. Nothing too extravagantly large. We're 2, 3, 4, 5%, but noticeable. And when we look at the gainers, we got BNB doing good against the dollar, gold, silver. The S&P 500 is up. We have gold here, which is XAU. Canadian dollars up. We're going to be, and that's at 0.8%. Gold, Bitcoin dominance. Bitcoin's up only 0.46%. And in this video, we're mainly going to be taking a look at gold, and then we're going to transition into the currency indexes, then to silver, then to Bitcoin, and it really isn't anything else more to go over. And in yesterday's video, well, first let's go to, well, look at my videos in here. On June the 13th at 7:34 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I uploaded a video called Bitcoin and Gold Chart Setups. Make me super excited. And last night at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 week later, Bitcoin, Litecoin, Gold, and Silver poised for sweet moves. Okay, well, let's take a look at it. Well, gold started a sweet move last night, and it didn't take long after me doing that video for it to do such. Right now, gold is at 1382. It's up 1 2/3%, and has gotten above all these levels of resistance. On the monthly chart, well, we're at these higher levels, the most upper end of really this level of resistance in here. And as I was stating yesterday, how it came back in here, I'm really ready to see and expecting this thing to be poised for a superior gain. And I would not be surprised if it's a fast one, as in the next 5, 6 weeks, to be able to get up and past this level. So this month and next month, continuation green candles, I'd expect large green candle month moves to get to that point. It could just settle in on a slower level, maybe go sideways, hold around the 1300 low change area for about 3, 4 months, and then grind its way higher and do it in December or January. Maybe, I don't know. In fact, there's a part of me that would rather have that, given of myself being a crypto trader, trying to accumulate both more gold and silver. But either way, gold goes up to like 16, 1700 bucks, and cryptos go up much more. I don't mind buying at that price because I know it's eventually going to be going up much, much higher. All right, then. So we'll see what ends up happening. But we look at this on the single-hour term time frame. There was just a phenomenal move, and it happened at 1400 hours. And then it happened again at 20 hours. So I was doing a video right before that, 7/19/30. So this is the period at which I uploaded it. And nice little up move. It pulls back within this 2100 hour, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 o'clock Pacific hour. And that would also be 1 a.m. UTC. Then we have the sideways move. We'll look at this on a 15-minute term. And yeah, support's down there, resistance is up there. That's always the case on these sideways moves. And it's going to break it to one side or another. So if it breaks it to the upside, well, we're looking at having that move come in and going up towards that 1500 and change level, which I expect it to pierce extra. 15 2/3, 15 3/4 is where I'd be expecting this move to be an area where I'll be looking next for that area of resistance. And what do we do from there? Because if we go there, do we go up further? Do we come back to this area? Yada, yada. Time will tell. So this is what gold is like on the 15. We'll see what happens. Going down, we'll just go back to some of these areas where we came from. And then, of course, 4 hour, this is that big area where it was. So 1300 low to mid change, 13 1/3 to 13 a half. 13 5/9. Okay. 1333 to 1358. That's a better way of saying that. That's the area where we came from, where I'd be looking for if it goes towards that side again. So then, this is what gold looks like against the US dollar. Let's give a snapshot against the Canadian dollar. And we can see in here how it's not a sideways and it's been grinding its way lower after making this failed breakout at 2 o'clock in the morning. And now just hanging in there, correcting within this 18 back and forth. Okay. So within the Canadian cross, ascending triangle, obvious. Uptrend line, and now with even all this, I guess I'm not going to delete that line. So we're looking like it's probably going to break above that ascending triangle. And gold going to about 1500 US will mean gold breaking 2000 CAD. All right then. So there we have it with gold. Let's take a look at this because I've just done the comparison with the US and actually this is gold CAU, and there's a CAD right there. Let's take a look at this with the DXY next. And we'll start with the most long term that we can get. I'll get all the data in here of what they have. Just choppily or moving its thing, going down, going up, going down, going up, and just sideways within that last up move. And the last up move is still well below this high. And within this up move, it is now well above the low. Price action is still holding on to the 18 average of highs. The last move in here, these last couple highs, microscopically getting above this high, but still hasn't broken down, hasn't broken out, and this has been the case since October of last year, albeit it is the monthly time frame. But this daily chart is where it gets interesting. How many U's or reverse U's can you find? Reverse V's? I think I counted like 8 or 9. And they're consistent. And if only cryptocurrencies could trade this with cryptocurrency volatility, of course. Because if this could go like 2,000 to 3,000 to like 22 and always move like this, but this is just amazement of how markets like this. There's 1, there's 2, there's 3. We got sort of this one here. We got another one here. Even from this low to this high to this low for another V shape. We got this one. We got this one. But in here, support breaks. And now we got this one again. Okay, we'll see what happens in here. Because last time support was always on that higher low aspect. And technically, this is a higher low to here, albeit barely. And in my book, it's a matching low. And what has the market done since that break of this support? Well, it was supporting below and in the area of the 18 average of lows, and it was resisting above the 18 average of highs on every single time. And even this one resisted above the 18 average of highs, just to show how great that volatility happens to be. When it can consistently get above and below the 18 like that of the highs and lows, that is spectacular moves for the buy low, sell high strategies that I talk about. But again, the volatility. Okay, we got it going from 96.57 to 97.70. Like, yay, that's like a percent and change, and that's terrible. I mean, the whole move, this low is 95.01, and the high is 98.30. That's like 6% in the entire year. Okay, but anyway, as far as chart analysis is concerned, now it has made this high, and it has done so with the newly declining 18, kind of going sideways there, but not supporting here. And reversal of trend possibility here because breaking down below this low. Maybe we'll continue these V-shaped formations, but instead of doing it in an uptrend line, maybe it'll do it in a new downtrend line instead, as we've now started. I pushed this button here. I did it again. This is the button here I've been trying to push twice, but I do that. That's when I get it. Yeah, so downtrend line. Just a little small frustration there. No problem. All right, then. That is the U.S. dollar currency index. Let's move on next to the Canadian dollar cross against the U.S. And on the daily term, all of this areas of support. There's resistance. There's support where it came from. We've just now had the break of this resistance. Meanwhile, this entire thing is in this choppy sideways action. Weekly time frame, we're looking back at these lows from 2 years ago, then these highs, and well, we've been in all of these lower highs. 1, 2, 3, 4, and right now, technically, it kind of is. It's a matching one, but It would change it if it's able to make any type of move getting above there. And in such, within the monthly chart, just this little bit of sideways consolidation. But when we look at how the Canadian dollar cross works, and when we look at this with the precious metals, we have this high, which, well, whatever, it's just going down throughout the 1990s. Silver and gold went down. And then this bottoms in 2002 when the precious metals, of course, bottom. What's the high? The high is in 2007 at the end of the year. Well, gold and silver had that small flush down sell off. So precious metals went up, then they went down. And this is the bottom of when? End of 2008, 2009. That's when silver was $8.50. That's when gold was like 700, and it went up. And then we got this high, 2011. Okay, silver goes to $50, gold goes to $1,900, and it's been in a downtrend. So, therefore, gold and silver and the Canadian US dollar cross have been pretty much been going up and down together in the same harmony. Well, during the entire run of this chart anyway. So just something to keep in mind as we move forward. And now let's take a quick look at silver because it's definitely lagging gold at this point right now. Still very, very cheap at 15 and a third in my view. And on the monthly, it's been the same pattern I've been looking at for quite some time, and it's got a long ways to go to even, especially now with this rally, to complete it because it is the high at $50, this low in here, and the price action always remaining below the 18 average. And when we see this, it got above it. There's your attempt here. So either you have usually it's an attempt to revert the trend or it's a failed move lower, and neither has happened yet. As it got above it, stage 1, band flatten out. Stage 2, establish resistance. Stage 3, come back to the band. It did stage 3 in October of 2016, almost 3 years ago. All right, then. So, attempt to get above it hasn't even gotten above the 18 average of high since, and it's been going down, but it has stayed within above this low, and it really hasn't went down much. It has just grinded its way for us completely sideways during this entire run until June of last year. And then it had this little run, but the little run was just that, going 60 and a half to like 14. And has managed to go up a bit to this level of resistance as support. And it's just doing its a small little thing. So as long as it's in this sideways range, I'm still waiting for the stage 1 to go to 4 on the breakout, or for this to be a failed breakout and a fast move lower. And if it's rallying, that means it's noticeably now above the $13 high change, and it's still most certainly, obviously, well below that $21 level that it needs to break out. But in whatever time it takes to manage to get up to this level, most likely what would happen in time is it would build some sort of nice bullish setup. Maybe it would go up there, hold and stay above here for a bit, then break higher. Again, my preference is that it takes several periods and several months to do that. Maybe get up to this, pull back, and do something like that. That would take a year, year and a half, thus silver prices being cheap and availability to buy it with cryptos at a a great deal. Let's put it that way. Okay, now let's move on to Bitcoin, and we're doing so 13 and a half minutes in this video. That is fantastic. For me, anyway. Because it seems every single time I'm going to go on here, I'll talk about Bitcoin for 20 minutes and all these other ones, and I barely talk about these precious metals because they just been not doing anything. And for today's moment, well, Bitcoin's not really doing too much for the intraday stuff, as is the other altcoins. But to be able to implement that as far as the daily content, because, well, gold and silver is awesome, and I like it when it's actually in exciting times, and it looks like maybe that's the case. But Bitcoin is most certainly in it, and like I say, I stated I'm thinking they're both going to be going up really big. It's just when I did my video yesterday, gold and silver started to go up well from that point, and Bitcoin hasn't. But on the monthly chart, as I've been stating, all these moves, not resisting this 18 band, barely below the lows, now barely above the highs, sideways congestion, and what's been a nice bull market, and prices above the 18, the momentum, that's resuming of this uptrend. So the possibilities for big moves, 20, 40, 60, 80,000 in like 2, 3, 4, 5 periods, which is by the end of the year, most certainly is in play. On the weekly term time frame for such, we can see after making it to this high, on May the 20th. And two quick points that I want to bring up. So I'm going to have to bring up gold again because I totally wanted to talk about it. But buying Bitcoin here at 8,900 high change back in the end of May was very, very overextended. Now that's not the case anymore. I'm going to go back to Bitcoin, but the one thing I wanted to talk about gold, I didn't say, I'll say now. And that was at $1,823 Canadian. It is a mile of difference buying it here back in July of 2011 compared to now. Major, major difference. Way, way, way overextended from its previous gains before. Yes, this thing could continue going higher at that time and just keep going up. So that's the thing about bull markets. But now we're in that setup stage where that thing is about to start a magnificent move compared to end a magnificent move. Okay, back to Bitcoin. And of course, like I've been saying, the move looks looking good because up to this point, sideways move, this nice, awesome red candle, and then to get it right back in the follow through so far. Now this week is getting close. It's past the halfway point now that it's Thursday, or it's around the halfway net number. We got all of Friday, all of Saturday, all of Sunday. Yeah, halfway, 3.5. We just passed the halfway point 2.5 hours ago. So it's looking like this is a real move. It's holding and staying. It's not giving it back. And to me, it hasn't had its breakout of big levels from this resistance, but it does seem to me, as I mentioned in yesterday's video, poised to do so. And looking at this on the daily chart, this level of resistance area in here is where it's been holding and staying above for several days now. That is fantastic. And we can even see this just upper area of resistance where it's at now. It's almost like an ascending triangle-ish formation. Do we see anything on the 4 hour? Well, we're seeing that we've had resistance hits in this area. One, great pullback. This a couple times in here, great pullback. Another time in here, albeit piercing below, well, not really much of a pullback, but a pullback to where it came from here to the 18 highs, and within this 4 hour timestamp with an hour and 25 minutes to go, starting to lift off higher like it's ready to make its move on the single hour term time frame. Well, this is fantastic setup in here because within that there's that resistance that's supported in here, supporting it also within the 18, and now we see it leaving the 18 average of highs. Last time wasn't able to get up to this previous level of resistance. It looks as if it's probably going to be doing so right now within that, and the ascending triangle, you can, just like I was showing you with the gold, it's pretty much the exact same sort of setup in here as well. I'd like to thank you for tuning in to today's video, which Bitcoin took an important back seat, which is awesome. Normally, for the last couple years, precious metals have always taken the important back seat. Have yourself a great day. Bye-bye.